Today again we'll create one VNet. Try to understand. So already yesterday we created one VNet, right? Citrix VNet. I'm going to create one more VNet now. So resource group, I'm creating a new resource group. I gave now Azure. Azure VNet I'm giving, and Central India review, and IP addresses I'll give 10.20 I'm giving. Okay, say here, try to understand one point. Why we are using 10 dot series? Yesterday maybe 10.0, 10.10, or 10.20. Why we are using 10 dot series? Why not other series? Okay, so now
0 to 9 are reserved.
somebody
0 to 9 are reserved.
reserved. Okay, separate IP ranges. What are the private IP ranges suggested by 10 dot series? 171 series.
Your voice is not coming.
What are the reserved ranges supported is 10 dot series, 171 series, and 192 series.
Only these three series are comes on the private.
Yeah, whenever we are designing our own private network, okay, so these reserved private ranges are suggested. Okay, so you can take even in 172 series also, for 171 series, 192 series also. Okay, so that is the reason we have taken 10 dot series.
In every company.
Sir, voice is a little bit low.
Yes, sir. Voice.
Hello?
Yeah, now it is fine.
Okay, so these are the reserved private ranges. Whenever we are going to design our networks, better to go for these reserved ranges itself. Say if you use maybe 30 series or 40 series, that is not recommended. Okay, most of them have been used by public IPs also. We may get a conflict also for that. So that is the reason there is an organization called as IANA. Okay, all over the world, IANA is responsible to provide the IP addresses to anyone, and IANA is suggesting to use these subnets itself, these range of private networks itself are reserved. Okay, say I hope I understand right why we are designing in 10 dot series or 171 series. Even in the local, whenever we design our own VMs, all those we kept 1.192.168. Why we are using 192 is in the class C, 192 is the address they have given. For class A,
It's 10.
yeah, 10 dot. For class B, 171.
Yeah.
Okay, so these range of IPs has been given by IANA. Okay, so that is the reason we are going to use. So now here I am creating 10.20. Okay, and while giving VNet, most of the companies are using /16. Okay, so with the /16, how many IPs we are getting?
65,536.
Yeah, 65,536 IPs we are getting. Okay, so 65,536 IPs we are getting here. So then, so one subnet also it is created 10.20.0.0 to 10.20.0.255/ 24. With this, how many we got? 256 addresses. We got 256 addresses. We got under the 256 addresses. Okay, we say we got one client requirement. There may be chance of more VMs we may keep in that. There may be chance of keeping more VMs, not only today immediately, but in the future. Okay, there may be chance of keeping more VMs. Then can you tell me what we need to do here? So that /24 is not enough. The client is telling in this subnet, I may keep more number of VMs. But as of now, how many VMs we can keep here?
Maximum 250.
251 is the maximum number of VMs we can keep here.
Okay.
Okay, but now you want to keep more VMs. For that purpose, what I'm going to do here is, I'm not going to use /24. If I use /20, can you tell me till what it is going to, how many IPs we are getting?
4096.
4096. In that again, how many IPs?
4091 VMs.
Yeah, we can keep 4000. 4091. Okay, so like this, maybe most of the companies, okay, for VNet, they're giving /16, giving 65,536 IPs. Okay, for subnets, either /20 or /24. Okay, /20 will give us 4096 minus 5 means 4091. Here we can have 256 minus 5 is 251. Okay, so now here itself, they given all the numbers right. If it is a /29 is the minimum we can give. 29 means 8 addresses. 28 is 16. 27. Just write down all these numbers. Okay, says 17 is 32,768. Okay, 16. Okay, so like this, for the subnet we are going to give here, then default subnet itself. And here try to understand for the subnet what are the things we are attaching is, we can attach a gateway, one network security group, and one route table. By default, without attaching anything also, okay, so it's going to become a public subnet. Okay.
Sir, your voice is not.
Hello?
Hello, your voice is not audible.
Yeah, is it fine now?
Oh, okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now here, what is NSG here is, yesterday we have a NSG, right? That is at the VM level we have.
513.
Okay, so that is at the VM level we have, but this is at the subnet level also we can restrict the traffic. At the subnet level also, I can restrict the, what is the advantage? I don't want to go till VM level. I want to restrict that subnet level itself. Then you can create a new NSG. We can create a new NSG. We can attach this NSG to this Hello?
Hello?
Yeah. If you attach this SG to that subnet, what's going to happen is it's going to filter the traffic which is coming to the subnet level. So now NSGs we can attach it either subnet level or VM level. Like in the previous sessions, we have attached at the VM level. Now we can attach at subnet level also. I'm going to create a new unit here. I'm going to create Azure VNet NSG. I'm going to create Azure VNet NSG. I'm going to create now. So there also we can configure the inbound rules and outbound rules. There also we can create inbound rules and
Outbound.
outbound rules.
Inbound, outbound, what?
So inbound is what is the input traffic coming to the that subnet. Outbound is from the subnet to outside one, what is the traffic is going on.
Hmm.
Okay, so then here we need to add one second, we'll add the key and that can be added to the NSG. So if you have already any NSG, that NSG is also we can attach here. Okay, so as of now, we are going to create a new,
Azure VNet.
yeah, we
NSG.
created that. Okay, so as of now, we are going to, later we'll go for NSGs and we'll attach that. And here one more very, very important point is there. What is this is service endpoints. Okay, so what is the meaning of service endpoint? So now we have a subnet. Subnet want to access some Azure task-based services. Okay, I'll tell one example. The subnet is private. That means you don't have internet. You don't have any internet. If you want to communicate, over private network with Azure task-based services. What is the meaning of task?
Platform as a service.
A platform as a services. There are internally Azure provides lot of task-based services, and the private subnet, if you have internet, it can access internet. But what is the problem to our subnet? We don't want to communicate them over. We don't want to communicate them over internet. Okay, so we don't want to communicate them over with the internet. Then what we need to do here is we need to give the service endpoint. So now my subnet want to communicate with Azure Active Directory. Then this service I'll enable. Cosmos DB. That means with which service it need to communicate. For that services we need to give the endpoint. Okay, so then
Sir, what is that Azure Cosmo, the DB? What is that?
that is one like NoSQL kind of database.
Okay.
So these are the different. It's a NoSQL database.
Sir, your voice is little bit low to hear.
No, I can't manage. I'm connected through mobile. Here, no internet. Not in the office.
Okay.
Try to manage. My wife is still not working at home. Connected. Okay.
Azure Cosmos DB, what is it?
Azure Cosmos DB is a NoSQL kind of database.
Low frequency?
NoSQL. So we have a database.
Voice issue. Yes.
We have SQL
Noted.
and NoSQL. SQL and NoSQL. Cosmos DB is Azure NoSQL kind of database. They kept the name as Cosmos DB. Azure kept the name as Cosmos DB. So why we are going to use the service endpoint is over
No SQL database.
private network or VM. Maybe suppose in your private network you have a VM. VM want to communicate with Azure AD or Azure SQL or Azure Cosmos DB or Azure storage. Normally what it requires is an internet. Internet. Even if you have the internet, I don't want to communicate over a public network. I want to communicate only over internal private network itself. For that purpose, for the subnet, what we need to do? We need to create a endpoint. Then based on what we need to choose, this is now I want to use Microsoft SQL. This is a SQL. Cosmos DB is a NoSQL. Okay, so now like here, these all the different patch-based services may be used for different requirements, which we are going to use. So suppose storage also is required. Microsoft Web Apps also required. I want to communicate with the key vaults. Depends upon your business requirement. You enable those
Service endpoint.
service endpoints, and there we can configure like NHGs also we can configure. Okay, those all policies also we can enable. So today what we have done is
Sir, private network there is disabled. Private network there it is disabled.
no. By default, that endpoint is communicating. Even still, we can enforce that policy through NSG or route table. Even still, if we want more rules, then we can enable. So suppose if you go for this, as of now, we have created the subnet also. Later, we'll go to that subnet. Okay, first we are creating now. So now here it's created one VNet and it's created one. It's created one VNet and subnet. If you go to this subnet, this is the default subnet we got. So now we attached one NSG and we given service endpoint to these all the service endpoints we have given. And in the service endpoint policies, you can attach one NSG, you can attach your own, even still you want more firewall rules or route table also, we can attach. Okay, so what is that? We have one more option is there called as an add gateway, route table, and VNet peering. So these all important concepts. I'll explain this. Okay, so what is the concept of VNet peering is by default, any communication is going to happen between the VNet itself. That means if we have 4 subnets, each VM in each subnet, everything can communicate with the other VM. Okay, so that means within the VNet, Any VM can communicate with any VM. That the cluster. If you have two VNet communication won't happen. If you have two VNets, communication is not going to happen. Then we need to do EPC peering. Okay. So why we will go for VNet peering? Tell me. Why we need to communicate between two VNets? Okay. My data.
If we have two VNet communication.
Yeah, two VNets maybe for replication. Say suppose in Central India we are using right in this. I want to copy all my data. I want to replicate my data. I want to take a backup. Okay. So this kind of replication jobs required between the two VNets. The connection is required. For that we need to go for. For that we need to go for VNet peering is required. So why we need to go for VNet peering?
If we have two VNet communication.
If you have the two VNet, for that communication is established. What is the requirement of business requirement for that? What is the business requirement? So what is the meaning of business requirement? Maybe for replication or two accounts also we can communicate. Okay, so two regions we want to communicate. So then we need to go for VNet peering. Okay, then what is VNet service endpoint? What is VNet service endpoint? If our VNet or
So
service
provide services, virtual network
no.
Between two VNet.
If Azure subnet to communicate with Azure services. Okay, then we need to establish service endpoint. Can you tell me some of the past services?
VM-based.
No. Some of the Azure patch-based services. Azure Cosmos DB, Azure SQL. Okay, so for that purpose, we are going to use VNet service endpoints, Azure Active Directory, Azure Storage Account, Azure Key Vault. So those all we don't want to communicate over internet. That resources in our subnet want to communicate them. Okay, I'll tell one example. I have a Azure VM in my private subnet. Okay, it want to connect to one Azure SQL database. For that, I don't have internet because my VM is in a private subnet. But still, it can establish a connection. Okay, so for our subnet, what is the setting we need to do? What is the setting we need to do? So suppose we were come to here this endpoint. Azure SQL, we have the connection is there or not, we need to check it. For service bus also is the monitor. Okay, for service bus we are going to do. The container registry. So these are the different task-based services. And for these task-based services, we are giving public access or private access.
Private.
Private access we are going to establish.
By business purpose. Okay, based on business.
Now, internally, the private communication is going to happen using the service endpoint. The internal communication is going to happen using in the Azure private network itself is going to establish because in their cloud they'll have huge network. In the private, it's not
Based on our business purpose, these services we can evaluate to take anything.
Yeah, if you want, even private public resources also want to access the Azure services, then we are going to give this. Okay, so today 4 important topics. One is VNet service endpoint, VNet peering. Okay, so in the next session we'll establish the VNet peering also. Then we have uh, with private subnet. Okay, with the private subnet, we don't get public access and we don't get internet also to our VM.
This, yeah.
To our VMs, we don't get the internet also. If you make a public, then okay, we will get public access and we don't get the, so we will get the internet also. Okay, if we have public subnet, we will get public access and we'll get the
Private,
public access
no,
and
internet.
internet also. Okay, but for my private subnet VM, for my private subnet VM, we don't want
Public internet.
public access, we don't want. But we need
Internet.
internet. Okay, maybe for starting the server. Okay, or maybe I want to like install some software or communicate with some APIs outside public APIs we want to communicate. So for this purpose, I want
Internet.
internet. Then the solution for that is
NAT gate.
NAT gateway. Okay, so what is the purpose of NAT gateway?
Provides the communication and provides internet with VMs.
Supposed to
Without public access.
yeah, to Azure VM, for Kubernetes, containers, those are all in the private network. Still want to communicate with. Still they want to communicate with internet. Still they want the internet. Then we need to go for NAT gateway. Then we need to go for NAT gateway. Okay, so how to create the NAT gateway also I'll say in the next part. Then there is one more term called as route table. What is the concept of route table? Is some set of routing rules we are going to get. So now in the router also, like we will enable some routing rules. Those rules are called as route tables. Okay, so by default, what is the if I give 10.20.0.0/16, okay, this is going to use one local router. What is this meaning is any IP comes with 10.20 series within the VNet can communicate with each other. It can communicate with each other. Why it can communicate is by default we are getting this route table. Okay, so within the then we need to edit the route table is maybe I want to attach a NAT gateway or I want to attach a like maybe with VNet peering. then we need to give more rules to your route table. By default, we are getting the route tables also. I'll show those. So here when we go for the subnet, to the subnet, what we can attach is, if it is a private subnet, we can attach an app gateway, network security group, route tables we can attach, and even we can give the service endpoints also. Service endpoints. Okay, so these all we are going to attach. Then VNet peering also we are going to establish. That means I have two different VNet. I want to establish the communication between them. For that we are going to create the VNet.
Sir, VNet peering, where it is option. VNet peering,
The VNet peering.
where it is showing option. Here.
Yeah. Here, like that is we need to create one more VNet. Okay. So here we
DNS
have
server
peering.
peering.
So we need to just establish the connection between those two VNets. Okay. So we need to establish that VNet peering. That I'll explain in the next
Means
slide.
what that subnets IPs we should add here.
So that another
Provide
VNet shouldn't have the conflict of IP. So if you already 10.20 series, in another VNet we shouldn't have 10.20. It should be another range of IPs only.
means what subnets are not able to communicate. Those we can add in.
No. Two VNets we can establish. Within that subnets automatically comes. Within the VNet, subnet to subnet communication will happen by default. VNet peering will go for two different VNets, either within the same region or multiple regions also is possible. But one restriction here is both the VNets shouldn't have the same IP range. If here 10.20, there 10.20 is not possible. If already one VNet is 10.20, so the other VNet will be 10.21, 22, yeah, whatever it may be. Because if they have a conflict of solder blocks, then we'll get the duplicate IPs in both the instances. Then communication is not possible. Okay, so that is the reason without having the conflict, we need to take care. Okay, so then go to your NSG. NSG stands for Network Security Group. Okay, so we created Azure VNet NSG, right? So now here you can configure the inbound rules and outbound rules. So here you can configure inbound rules and
Outbound security
outbound
rules.
rules you can enable, and to which subnet or to which VM you want to attach, because this Azure VNet NSG has been attached to this. Okay, so this
In inbound means inner side what IPs will communicate. Those IPs.
inbound means what is the traffic entry and exit kind of thing. So entry means to the subnet the communication is coming. Outbound is from the subnet to outside what is the traffic is going.
Okay, inside the traffic, what will become?
Inside what is the traffic is coming is inbound rule. From the VM or from the subnet outside what is the traffic is going is
Outbound.
outbound rule. Okay, so try to create the different subnets and the different VNets, then create the VMs in those and install some web servers like Nginx yesterday we did and install IAS also. Then we'll discuss how to do the VNet peering. All this in the next session we'll discuss. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, then.